staying here and stuff like that.
You want the picture?
Good.
I need to tell you the input German design thing. We're going to take over next year. So make that out.
Sobie muzyczka, to jest muzyczka.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames y messieurs, damas y caballeros, and everyone in between. It is with great pleasure that we present to you this evening's Fossil of the Day Award here at the COP24 in Katowice, Poland. This is quite an exceptional fossil, as you shall see, and there's a lot for us to talk about. But before we begin, we'd like to point out that this fossil ceremony is presented by the CAN Network, a network of more than 1,300 climate organizations all around the world who vote each day on who is the best at being the worst, who does the most to do the least, and who is trying with every bracket, every comma, every article 7.14192.472 to make sure that we do not arrive at a fair, just, and binding climate agreement that our beautiful planet so desperately needs. So to get warmed up, you can practice a boo now if you want. Can we hear boo? Boo. A little bit louder now. Boo. There we go. You're going to need that today because today's winner deserves just such a boo. But before that, I would like to invite all of you to join us in singing the Fossil of the Day theme song, a song that dates back to time immemorial, before Article 6 was even born, when WIM was just a thought in the Kyoto Protocol's eye. Maestro, if you please.
Fossil of the day, who is bad, who is worse? Fossil of the day, fossil of the day, all the blame, all the shame, fossil of the day.
And we, as I said, we have a special fossil today. In fact, it's an ultra super extra critical fossil. And you'll find out why it's so extra super critical and clean today. But there's something we need to talk about. And we really should talk about it. But before we talk, maybe we should talk about what we should talk about. And then maybe we should also get clear what we shouldn't talk about. And then maybe if you all can talk about what they should talk about, and you can all talk about what they shouldn't talk about, and then you can talk about how they're talking about what you shouldn't talk about, and then you can talk about how they're talking about what you shouldn't talk about, but they did. Maybe that's the kind of talking we need. I mean, talking's important. Communication's really good. But, you know, sometimes you want to stop communicating. You know, for example, if you invite someone over for dinner and you're like, okay, let's make dinner, and there's a 20-minute intervention about the merits of spaghetti, that might not put you on track to actually filling your plate. Nor would, you know, a 20-minute intervention about what you had for lunch and the importance of sticking to that. So at some point you might want to say, hey, should we stop talking and maybe do something here? Which is why today's fossil wins. And talking here can be hard at the COP. Often you're not talking for yourself. Often you're the head of a delegation, so you're talking to the delegation. You're the head of G77, so you have to talk for 77 different countries. You're trying to talk for a dinosaur, perhaps, because they don't, have that much, vocal skills, it seems. So you have to try to translate, and he's saying he's in love with you. But sometimes you have to talk for your president. Sometimes you have to talk for, the president's minister. Sometimes you have to talk for the people. But then, and sometimes you just have to talk for whichever dude just gave you $20 million, so you'll just kind of do whatever he says. But, and that's kind of what we need to think about here, because sometimes there's a conflict of interest. You've got sort of, the good side of your brain saying, yes, justice. We need justice and a fair transition. And the bad side of your brain sort of saying, nah, man, just do it for yourself. Hey, what are you doing? Fossil, no, hey, Fossil, you can't steal people's things. No, sorry, your phone might be lost and damaged now. Ooh, there you go. Give that back, That's your historic responsibility. Return those fossils. Yeah, keep that thing in the ground, okay? But here at COP, there's often that conflict of interest between sanity and business as usual. Doing what's right and what history demands and the weight of the future generations upon us. And, trying to build a few more coal power plants to keep your voters a little bit happy for a little bit longer. But some of these decisions have to get made, and they can be pretty tough to make. Are we going for, what? What's that? Okay, 1.5 or, okay, you don't want to use the oven anymore? You're just going to start using the whole planet? Okay, buddy. But this is important. And when we're talking, the most important thing is that people are being honest. And sometimes it seems like some people at this COP are hiding something, which, isn't always the cleanest way to get where we're going. And, hey, Fossil, what are you doing over there? What's that? Oh, you got some pyramids. Oh, that's cool. You got these nice big pyramids, and they're kind of cool. Let me see. Let me see that. What? Hey, Fossil. Oh, look at that. What? Oh, Fossil, what is this? You're hiding a super extra gigantic plan to build the world's largest coal station behind these really impressive architectural monuments of history. That is right. If you haven't guessed it by now, you maybe need a geography lesson. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone please, in between, a drum roll if you please. Today's Fossil Award is given to Egypt. We should really talk about that thing. That thing, the whole planet spiraling out of control, basic ecosystems breaking down. It's important, right? But we've already talked about it a lot already. Maybe we think so, but there's some who think we still need to talk just a little bit longer about all this. Parties agreed at COP23 in the Talanoa Dialogue would be designed to enhance ambition. However, that spirit seemed to have escaped some parties in their interventions in the Talanoa Dialogue events today. There was perhaps no party that seemed so dead set against ambition in Talanoa than Egypt. Despite the IPCC findings that current nationally determined contributions, NDCs, put us on track to 3 degrees or more, and the call for currently scaled up ambition and targets from the pre-2020 high-level event, Egypt made it clear that they had no interest in discussing more ambitious NDCs before 2020. Let's hear boo. Yeah, I mean, 2020 is pretty close, and we've been talking about it for a long time. Maybe it's time to start doing something about it. Even more, they doubled down on their no ambition strategy, saying that there should be no negotiated outcome of Talanoa. Perhaps it has escaped them that we are here at the climate negotiations discussing the defining issue of the 21st century, the shortage of ambition, past, present, and future to address climate change. We need outcomes that commit countries to scale up climate efforts in the pre-2020 and post-2020 period. Not more ducking and weaving to dodge discussion of ambition. No doubt Egypt is torn between its loyalties to the oil-dominated Arab group and solidarity with its fellow members of the African group, many of whom are LDCs and extremely vulnerable to climate disruptions. But dodging ambition in any time period does disservice to both of them. Can we have a boo for today's fossil? And do we have anyone who can step up and accept this shameful award today? Is anyone brave enough? Does anybody dare? Ooh, not even daring to step up and accept the prize. Should we deliver it to them? Great. Thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen, mesdames and messieurs, and everyone in between. This has been Fossil of the Day. We are here every day at 6 p.m. Come back to find out who is the best at being the worst, who does the most to do the least, and who tries their hardest to make sure we do not get a fair, just, and binding climate deal. But before we go, if you would like to join us just one more time in singing our traditional song, the Fossil of the Day Awards, join us if you will. Maestro, if you please.
The day, fossil of the day, who is bad, who is worse? Fossil of the day, fossil of the day, all the blame, all the shame, fossil of the day.
Thank you. If you'd like a press release, come right up. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock here.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.